Hello, it's Bernard Nomberg with the Nomberg Law Firm. I want to spend a few minutes talking with you about preparing for your deposition that's coming up in your case. There's a few things that you can do before your deposition that will greatly help you during the day of your deposition, and so that it'll be a little bit less stressful than maybe you're otherwise thinking. This video is not meant to be a substitute for meeting with one of the lawyers at our firm to prepare for the depo, but really more to supplement for you to watch at home at your leisure. You'll also be getting a letter from us that's a little bit more in detail about do's and don'ts and tips and things. But I want to take a couple of minutes to share a few thoughts with you. The purpose of your deposition is really for the other side, typically the insurance company, to get a good look at you, to figure out who you are more so than the paperwork that they've probably been reading in the medical records and the other papers that are involved in your case. And they're going to find out a few things. They want to know what the facts of what happened and what you claim occurred in your case, and how everything that took place leading up to you filing this lawsuit that we're dealing with here. They want to know what maybe you're claiming that the defendant, the employer, or the other side, the other driver, whatever your situation may be, might have done wrong, and to the nature and extent of your damages and injuries. They're also sizing you up, per se, if you will. How truthful are you? How does this person's story make sense? Does the timeline of events meet up with what they're claiming? Do the medical records match what's being said in the lawsuit and what you're testifying? And things like that. And I'm sure you'll do just fine. Just tell the truth. We always tell our clients when preparing for these things, just tell the truth. It's always the best way to go. You need to be sincere and humble when you're in your deposition. Wear comfortable clothes. I don't mean clothes you may lounge around the house in, but you don't have to be dressed up in a three-piece suit either. If you're more comfortable in jeans and a collared shirt, or khakis, those kind of things. Sometimes some folks may have certain injuries that prevent them from wearing certain clothing. Whatever is most comfortable for you. Always be polite when you're in your deposition. It's our job as your lawyer to defend your rights and to make sure that they're following the law and the way that the procedures go. So if you see us get heated or have an elevated discussion or even yelling, which occasionally occurs, just let us handle those things. You just need to sit there and keep your wits about you, keep your emotions in check. Be forthright. Make eye contact with the questioner, whether it's the attorney on the other side of the case, sitting actually on the other side of the table from you, or the court reporter, whoever it may be. Just make contact from an eye standpoint, shake hands, use your manners, those kind of things. Again, don't use any temper. Let us handle those types of things. Don't be a smart aleck. Don't cut jokes. Don't make up things just to seem to be funny or witty. Again, we need you to be on your game. Be focused on your answers. Again, being polite, being courteous are two very good ways to help your day go along. Don't volunteer answers. If you're asked what time is it, look at your watch and tell them exactly what time it is. Don't tell them how you got the watch, where it came from, how much it cost, those kind of things. The more answers that you volunteer, the longer you're going to be sitting there, I promise you. So please be mindful of what the questions are and answer accordingly. On that note, don't guess at anything. If you don't hear what was being asked of you, ask the person who asked the question to repeat it or to rephrase it. You control this deposition. You're the deponent, which means we're not in a hurry. This is not a sprint. It can be more along the pace of a marathon or a slow jog, and I don't want you to feel that you're being rushed. So just take a deep breath, slow down, make sure you answer the questions as you hear it. If there are objections that are made by me or by your attorney in the case or by the other side, just let the objections be stated by the attorneys. There's nothing for you to do. However, if you're instructed not to answer, or if you're instructed to even leave the room at times, that's quite rare, but just be listening out for those things. During the course of the deposition, you and I are not going to talk while it is the time for you to testify. We can take a break, go outside the room to talk, but it's always better that you're able to answer those questions under oath directly with the person asking the questions. Don't look for me for answers if you don't understand, or if you have a real concern whether you should answer it. Then maybe we can take a short recess, step outside, and discuss it. But don't turn towards your lawyer and start asking questions when you're being asked questions. Don't forget that I'm your friend in that room, not the attorney who may be quite courteous to you across the table. They're not there to be your friend. They're there to do their job, and most attorneys are quite cordial, quite courteous. There's very few moments where it gets heated. But the person sitting next to you, your attorney representing you, that's the person who you need to rely upon, and not anyone else. Don't hesitate to correct any mistakes you might have made. Sometimes people get nervous and they make mistakes. They misstate something. I'm sure that 99.9% of the time it is not intentional. Just correct it. Sit up in your chair, don't slouch. That's pretty evident. Records and documents. Don't bring anything into the room. You might be shown documents, and if you are, look at the documents and make sure there's a question that's being asked of you before you start volunteering or responding to anything. Don't be a complainer. Don't feel sorry for yourself. No one in that room does. And if you start acting that way, then you tend to feel badly, and your answers will reflect as such, and it won't help your case. One or two other things. Be distinct in your responses. Don't mumble. Don't use mm-hms or head nods. Those things are not recordable properly on a transcript. Now, you'll notice at the end of the table during your deposition, there'll be a court reporter. He or she will be taking down everything that's said under oath. So every answer that you respond to a question for, they need to be audibleized. So if the answer is yes, don't say mm-hmm, but in fact respond with yes, and those types of things. It'll be easier once the transcript's been read or is being read by the judge and so forth. Plus, it'll give you more credibility. There are a lot of other things to go over. These are just meant to be a few tips for you to review. If you have questions and concerns, please call us at the Nomberg Law Firm, 205-930-6900. We also can be found at nomberglaw.com. We have a website, we have a Twitter account, as well